Very cool. All righty. Hey, everyone. Welcome. Dominic here, founder of Smart Catholics, and this is Smart Catholics Mastermind. Glad to be joined by John Paul Kasperowicz. Welcome, John. How are you, sir?
Good, Dominic. How are you? I'm doing well. I appreciate the opportunity.
No, likewise. It's good to have you here. You've been an amazing support of the community this past year, and you've got a really fascinating project that you're working on. So very quickly, Smart Catholics Mastermind, it's a live series to meet the minds and hearts of creators, leaders, hosts in our community. They devote their time and talent to mastering their vocation so that you can live a fuller life faster. So John, let's start not with just what you're doing. Let's start with a little story of who you are. Is there a moment in your life where you began to realize, I can't keep being who I am. I have to change. I have to do something different. Take us to that moment.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of those moments, but I'll pick one in particular. Basically, when I was raised, I was not raised really Catholic, so we didn't go to mass, we didn't go to church or anything like that. At least not a Catholic church. I was in and out of Catholic school just because they were better than public schools, at a particular time. Grew up in Trenton, New Jersey. My parents got divorced when I was about 7 years old, so life was a little interesting for me. But to make a long story short, one thing I learned from my father, though, was my work ethic. He's a hard worker. He took care of his family. And I got that from him. And when I got into landscape work was what I did when I was a teenager, all the way up to my early mid-20s, actually, I should say. Long story short, during that time in working in landscape businesses, working for other companies, I remember working for this one company, and I'm not going to say the name of the company, but working for this one company, and the guy was I would just say wrong. I could think of some other words, but the way he ran his business wasn't ethical. We'll just say that. And I was the foreman at the particular business he was running at the time, at the landscape business. And I'd be the guy to have to go to the workers, and tell them, hey, you guys aren't getting paid today, knowing full well that the money was there, knowing full well that I was getting paid. No one had to go to the mechanic and tell him, hey, we need this truck fixed, but we can't pay you. Again, knowing full well that was a load. And, but at that particular time, I actually had started reading the Bible. And as I was reading the scriptures and really kind of contemplating how Jesus lived his life, it wasn't even that I gave my life to Christ at that point. It was really the example of Christ's life, how he lived his life, that said to me, this is not compatible. This working for this guy and doing the things that I'm asked to do, this is not compatible. This is not the way that I would see Jesus living. One line in particular is where Jesus says in the Gospel of Matthew, he says, let your yes mean yes and your no mean no. Anything else from that is from the devil. That's what Jesus said, and it just basically told me that we have to be people of our word. We have to be honest. That's the thing. And that set me on a whole journey after that, for truth and what is honesty, how can you be honest if you don't know what the truth is, and that sort of thing. But what it did for me in that point was it told me that I can't be working for this company. Now, the one thing about this company really quick was that, I was the only one that got paid in the wintertime. If anybody knows anything about seasonal work, you usually go on unemployment in the wintertime. But I got paid because I was the foreman. But God's timing is amazing. So in the middle of winter, I decided that I had to quit my job. And I quit my job. The other part of that was that I was also in a heavy metal band at the time. I was rocking out to things like Metallica, Anthrax, all kinds of heavy metal music and that sort of thing, playing in clubs and bars and all that. And I had a lot of equipment. And at the same time, I quit my job. I also realized that the lifestyle of music that I was living wasn't compatible. So I quit my job. I was living on my own. I used up all my money. My toilet froze. My electricity got shut off. All kinds of things happened during that time. And then I realized, well, I got to make some money. So I decided to sell all of my musical equipment. And I actually did pray at that moment. And I prayed to God and I said, listen, I realize this is not the life I should be living. So I'm going to get rid of all this stuff. If this is something you want me to be doing, you're going to give it all back anyway. So I'm willing. And so I sold everything. And I had, 3 or 4 guitars and amplifiers and all kinds of equipment and stuff like that. And I sold it, and then I had to humble myself and actually move back to my dad's house. Really where my journey began to change, and dive more into the scriptures and want to be what, I guess in that moment, want to be what Christ wanted me to be. So I guess that would be kind of one of the defining moments. There's so many more. You look back and it's like life conversion, right? It's constantly happening. But
So tell us then where you're going today. What is it that you're now doing today? You've got a farm and you continue to be active in music.
Yeah.
What's going on now?
Yeah. So if you take those things that I love to work outside, that's why I did landscape work. And obviously, like I said, I was into music at the time, and God, he gave it all back over time, back in 2005. Now this is after I really gave my heart to Christ, and after I got confirmed Catholic in 1997. But in 2005, my wife and I moved out to where we are now in Berks County, Pennsylvania. And we have a small little farm here. And, one of the things that we had done over the years had gotten into music ministry, gotten into retreat ministry, all this stuff. But in 2005, when we moved out here, we realized there was another piece that was missing. And the piece that was missing was the physical piece. After I gave my heart to Christ, and after my wife gave her heart to Christ, and I got confirmed Catholic, I got into ministry, all this stuff. And that was like 24 years ago now, and we realized that, we were helping people spiritually, but there was this physical part that was missing. It says in the letter of St. James, if you see somebody who's hungry and you see somebody who is naked and you don't, and you just say to them, hey, I hope you do well. I'll pray for you, and yada, 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 all that's yada, yada, yada is in the Bible. It's a Greek word. Just kidding. But anyway, if you say that, but you don't do anything to meet those needs, right? What good is that? That's what St. James says. And so we started using this little farm that we have to grow food and raise chickens and stuff. And we started out by going to different pastors or churches and asking if they knew anybody that was in need. And we would just give them stuff. Now we're at the point where we grow a lot of things and we get a lot of eggs. I mean, we're on target to give away about 650 dozen eggs this year. So, but now we give them to like rescue missions and stuff. Yeah, it's about 650 dozen eggs, And so my life now is like watering and weeding and cleaning eggs, and clean up all other kinds of things. So, but also, the music portion God gave me back, so many years ago. Once I got confirmed Catholic, I kind of dove into ministry, music ministry, and I've been doing retreat and music ministry for the last 24 years. So it's been an amazing experience, to be able to bless people with the talents and gifts, but to see how, when you make that decision in your life, how God's going to take the things that he's already made you passionate about, and rearrange how they're used, so they're used for his glory. And so that's kind of where we are right now. It's been an amazing journey, we'll just keep going. So
fantastic. And a lot of what you, I remember you shared a video a couple of months back. I think it was in the winter. You'll share these little videos of little moments doing things around the farm. You're posting that kind of stuff, allowing people to see what it is that you're doing. And you even have time to cut albums. Is that right?
Well, that was because of the pandemic, once you can't go anywhere, you do a lot of things, Oh, well, one of the albums I did like 20 years ago, I just got the ability to actually reproduce it. But the other ones I did, it's always a process with anything. I try my best to be a very patient person. When working on a farm, one of the things you learn is that you will plant a seed today and, it doesn't happen right away. Mm-hmm. It's going to grow over time, and not even just a seed, but like a plan that you have. And you probably see this with SmartCatholics, and this vision that you had for this is like, you have the idea, but it's not going to happen overnight. And some things you can have an idea, and some things don't happen for 4 or 5 years, right? Mm-hmm. But you're just putting things in place. So music was the same way for me. I'd record a song here, record a song there, and it would sit there and be, and of course you go through the things of like, oh Lord, am I ever going to do anything with this? And then the time comes and it's like everything's converged into the right timing, and then you just put it together. So that's kind of how that all worked out, and it's the same thing with the farm. Right now we're in the midst of, this whole idea of in order to run the farm, we rent a lot of land, so now we're in the midst of the guy who owns the land. He wants to sell the land. So now we're in the midst of visiting parishes and singing for them and raising money and all this kinds of stuff I don't like to do, but you have to do, right? But again, it's all these pieces putting together, and it's eventually, I know God's going to put it all together when the timing is right, and it's going to be glorious. It's not always easy. Doesn't always look glorious, but it is what it is.
I can't imagine hosing off 1,200 dozen eggs. But so you said you had a short piece of a song you wanted to share with us. Can you?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So this song is called "Without Your Love." I'll just sing like the first verse and chorus of it, but. Look around the world today, everything's a tragedy, as our culture cries out for unholy pageantry. I find it hard to sleep at night, toss and turn in dreams I'd fight. So many questions, so little answer. I can't save them on my own. I can't put out these fires burning out of control without your love. So I'll sing it all alone, and I'll sing it with the choir. Sing a song about your love that saved my soul. So that's a little bit of it. And, really it's a song just praying for people. That part of the song is praying for people with so many questions and so many wondering where God is, if God's even real,
Wow.
But it's a blessing.
That's great, John. I'll get the links to your album. We'll put it in the description here so that
awesome.
People can enjoy it. We've got a couple of people watching live, and they're all like cheering in the comments. So,
one of the other things, if you don't mind me mentioning really quick, is I always like to make sure people know too, if they are willing. Through the art of technology, right? I have the ability now to pray with people through music every Tuesday night at 8:30 p.m. through I don't know if you're familiar with Shalom World. Yeah, Shalom World's prayer channel. And it's a 25 minutes of adoration in front of the Blessed Sacraments. And it's been a real blessing for me, because now people are starting to send in their prayer intentions really from all over the world. It's the most amazing thing, And so just keep that in mind, anybody out there. I would love to pray with you.
That's awesome. No, I've seen that you've been posting it like in the community, giving us those reminders. And I remember last Christmas you hosted a what was it? It was like a live.
Oh, the Christmas karaoke thing. Yeah. That was cool. Yeah. We had a good time.
No, it was.
So maybe we could do that again this year. That'd be awesome.
I would love to, but you brought together like a bunch of people on a live call, and then you just hosted it for an hour of just music and sing along, and I couldn't believe how many people showed up and sang. And anyhow, that's a gift. So let's wrap here, John. If you had 1 minute to share your most important message to the world, what would you say?
Yeah, I'm a simple guy. Through music, through farming, I do what I can do. And this is what I always like to tell people. I'm not trying to be this big organization or famous person, like for instance, our farming ministry, we're simple. We try to provide for those that we can provide for. And my thought is that if every person did what you could do to bless somebody else, not go overboard and burn out, not, be lazy and do nothing, but to do what you can do to bless someone around you. Imagine, what our world would be like, imagine how many people would actually come to Christ just through our example. We wouldn't even really have to say the word Jesus, even though we should, don't misunderstand me, but they would see Jesus in us, if we're just simple. So I think that's what I would say. And I just encourage people, to look at the gifts and talents that God has given you, whatever it is, and use that to bless somebody else. It makes all the difference in the world. So
that's awesome. That's great. There's a little sign, I think I posted about this in the community a little while back, but there's a sign that says, God's got this. And I'm thinking, you know what the great next response is? I got you. God's got this, and I got you. And if we build a culture of people who said that, that's what creates peace on earth. That's what creates that witness of Christ. But if we don't have that second one, if we try to sort of outsource everything to God, but we don't say to each other, I got you.
Right. That's good. I like that. Missing. Praise God.
Yeah. All righty. Thank you for all those who are joining us live and watching this. And if you're catching a replay, share this episode maybe with the one friend that you think would enjoy meeting John, learning about his ministry, and then come and regroup with us in the free Catholic community on SmartCatholics.com. We are free of trolls and ads and toxicity. We are faithful to the Holy Father, Pope Francis, and the Church. We are committed to a culture of kindness and learning. Does that sound like you? Well, then come on over and join us. Thanks again, John. It was awesome to spend a moment with you.
Awesome. Thank you, Dominic. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
All right. God bless everyone.